In the last episode, it probably didn't record until now, so in the last episode we redistributed some workers. Also, we seem to be out of coal. We just bought some coal, so let's be happy about that, and let's play some more Banished. We also sorted out the slow decline in our population. It's still going to decline a bit longer, but we should be on the way back up. Yeah, so there we go. We had this decline because all the houses were full and people had to die, so new room for new families was created. Also, just realized I still have very few fishermen. Oh wow, we went from we don't have resources to we actually can't produce because we're full. That's weird to see, but I don't mind it. I don't really mind seeing that. Actually nice to notice. However, I think it's a good idea to go up to 150 tools because we have so many people. And we also have a fair bit of storage space, so should be a good idea to make that happen. I still have to monitor this because sometimes people just die kind of in clumps, and I actually don't need all those stone cutters for now. I'd rather have you guys work on the fields for now. I guess I could also have the miners work on the fields. I don't want to take workers from anywhere else, but those are my kind of go-to not absolutely necessary professions. But I'm just quick about removing. Okay, so we now have an almost full population of farmers. Actually, let's top that off. 120 is a much better number. Okay, we have a timer set up. So, we'll see how the food production will increase or not. It should be quite a substantial increase because we just put 8 fields online. Well, not necessarily online, but you get where I'm going, yeah? We just started to put those into service, I guess. Christ, people are dying way too fast. And it was actually easier to maintain the population when we had this massive amount of students pressing into the schools. But I think we had a fair bit of children now. Let's see that. I actually think we had way less children before. Yeah, we were in a steady decline here. We had about 35, I guess. Yeah, this is 75. This would be about 35 children. I suppose about 40 before the famine. Or before the second wave of famine. You can still see it here. This was the first one, the slow recovery, and then we hit it again, and then it's been improving ever since then. It also appears the frame rate has taken a heavy hit because I'm scrolling way slower than before. Way slower. And I never looked up if that was normal or not. Like I believe that some crops just start growing earlier and finish growing earlier too. So they have a bit of a different vegetation period than others. So some start in early autumn and then just grow until mid or late summer, and others just take longer. Like pumpkins usually don't seem to be in full bloom until, or not bloom, but they never seem to be done until early or even mid-autumn. Anyway, oh wow, we're low on those. We are too low on those. I have to release the farmer. I try to never go below. Well, actually, I only have 3 traders. Let's release some of those from duty. No. Yeah, ale sells for 8 here, which I suppose means it sells for 8 for us too. And everything gives ale, so there's no distinction between the different kinds of alcohol you can make. Some of the experts here would probably say, yeah, this is technically a wine, and this is an ale, that's a beer, but Banished does not distinguish in that regard. In Banished, all sorts of ale or all sorts of alcohol are the same. They're all equal, they're all good for the city in some way. Okay, this is all growing. We can't currently see it, but it's growing. You can see it if we're getting close to it. I don't like this very close of view because I prefer to have a bit of an overview in those kinds of games, so I can just see where I can plan where I want to do something. Like I can see that I want to build some more houses here. This is going to be crammed with houses. I can see if there is something going on, if I forgot a field or if a field is doing well. And that's where this perspective excels. If I do it from here, it's just not as good. I can try to move through the city like I were a villager or something, but I don't want that. I do not wish to feel like being part of the public, of the mob, of those lowlifes. No, just kidding. I actually just prefer to know everything that's going on here. I mean, I am their benevolent, godlike being, I guess, so the thing about those chambers are for me. I like that thought actually. Never crossed my mind before, but I like it now. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all we can do now is essentially wait for the end of the year and see how the food production goes up or not. On the one hand, we just put way more fields into service. On the other hand, and that's something we might not want to forget, we we distributed our workers a bit more, so the fields, or most of the fields don't, actually most of the fields should have their full potential, but some fields don't have their full staff. They're not crewed to the max. So this might be a bad thing in the long run. Yeah, we'll see. If the food production does indeed go up quite a notch, and we have this, let's see, 28,000. Actually a pretty good equilibrium here. We're only a 40 food deficit. That could be those 2% that were rotting on the fields earlier. So they may or may not be happening again this year. However, I'm expecting way more food this year. Even though we have more houses and thus more citizens to feed. Yeah, I think I kind of missed the point where I should have built more homes. But yeah, you see what happens when you build houses too quickly and too hasty. Yeah, it goes wrong. It all goes wrong. On the bright side, we are having a lot of people getting, well, finishing their school now, so that is great to see. We apparently need more leather. And I'm still tempted to just build a gatherer somewhere out here where, actually this might be a good spot for a gatherer. Just have like a gatherer and a fisherman here. And don't touch this wood at all. So the gatherer always has old trees to work with. Because I think a tree has to reach a certain age until it spawns the herbs you can gather. Which is why this guy actually should produce more than all the other huts. Actually, no, not this guy. Not this guy either. This guy. This one should produce a lot. He doesn't because of reasons, but yeah. This forest is not touched by anyone. So this should actually be very, very productive. I'll also probably place another herbalist over here. But there's even more old crap trees that have never been touched. And if this one produces like crazy, then we know it's the fault of that. And this is what I mean. The beans are ready already. Corn is still growing and all the rest is still growing. But the beans are just done. Beans are real trooper plants, it seems. And this is this is what gets me wondering why there is no beekeeper in Banished. It would make sense. There should be some wild swarms somewhere they could catch. They also have the hives, or the material for the hives ready. And it's a source of food that you can get from pretty much anywhere. If there are plants, you can have bees, and you can gain honey from them. Even though in those days beekeeping was actually a bit worse for the bees. Before people actually discover, or before people actually thought of the beekeeping you know of, or you know with those wooden frames, they actually had those straw baskets or whatever, and they would kill the bees to get to the honey. So when the honey was ready to harvest, they would just burn a bit of sulfur in the hive and just kill everything in it. Then they'd get the harvest out, and next year they would try to get a new swarm into that beehive that would be now vacant. So yeah, people would only get one harvest from every hive, and I think it's better now because people try to actually get their bees over the winter. Okay, we're living in summer right now. The food is growing low, which is, of course, because the vast majority of the harvest hasn't even set in yet. In fact, it doesn't seem like anything of the harvest has happened yet. You know, this is almost finished here. So the fields are being worked. They're definitely being worked. It's just they're not being worked enough. This is being harvested. We also have some farmers dying. Actually, farmers are quite a big part of our population, and that is, I'm not sure which era this is best representing, but I think this was more the case in the pre-industrial medieval times, where you actually needed lots of work power on the fields, and where you actually had lots of people living outside of the cities and just growing food for those people living inside the cities. Although this is, I don't know if that sounds more harmonic than it actually was. I mean, it was quite a tough time for many people, especially the peasants were often exploited, and I mean, they were essentially owned by their landowners. They were part of the land. Not in that romantic sense, but in the sense that they were just like inventory. You needed, if you wanted to have food from your bit of land, you needed a farm and some peasant inside. Kind of like the ingredient. They were also good for throwing into battle if you needed them. And they really didn't want to do that, but they kind of had to. And if you were their appropriate ruler, then you could just force them to go into battle for you. I don't think they appreciated it a lot, but you could make them go into battle. Okay, also now to test my theory, they actually go around it, so they try not to trample through the unharvested fields, but they will still try to make the most efficient path, which is good. I like when games do that, even though I guess I'd prefer if it we can make a road down there. Speed up things even further. Can you make a road like this? Yeah. But we need a builder for that. It will have to be like carved out by a builder. But once we have that going, I mean, we can't place anything else here anyway. But having that road there will speed up the gathering a bit more. What do you have? We don't need seeds anymore. Okay, town hall. Yeah, now we actually have a bit of a surplus. We're actually now having a fair amount of additional food. Is that? No, that's not yet built. You can see it's slightly faded out. Okay, this bit of the road is built, and this hasn't been built yet. Is that a builder? No. So yeah, we'll have to wait for the builder to actually come around and hammer this out. There she is. Well, for a moment. Oh, he is? Oh, it looks like a male now. So yeah, once this has all been done, we need to... we can unassign the builder again. But until then, we have to keep him around. And I think that's a bit confusing, because roads aren't clickable, so they don't have this... They don't have this menu, and they don't have a worker requirement, but they still need a builder to be built in the first place. Not sure if stone roads are different from that, but those standard roads I use are just kinda rubbish, and it's one of the very, very few confusing bits about Banished. Let's say it like that. Okay, we are... oh wow. We have produced a lot of food this year. Weirdly enough, it doesn't seem to be more than we used than last year. Oh, now it's taking over here. You can see it's still rising. And what confuses me is that we used so much food last year, and only this amount this year. I guess that really is the stocking up of those houses here. I mean, they have more inside now, and we built about, I don't know, oh wow, this barn is full. So we'll have to, I think we'll have to get more vendors going, so this barn is emptied quicker. Even though they just dumped those baskets nearby, which is fine. I think it doesn't rot here either. We might need a second barn over here. So if I indeed make this a forest bit, I will probably build a another barn here, so those fields can just drop their harvest in here. And we also now officially have enough food for the... oh wow, we actually have the food limit. Let's increase that to 30,000 then. You will never want to be there without food. It's 30 grand. You should not be at the limit now. No, you're not at the limit, my friend. I think they just take a while until they check whether or not they can actually harvest and work. Oh wow, we still have an unfinished field here. Would somebody mind harvesting that? We'll have to unassign this one. We ran out of citizens here, so this had to be. And I'll just do the crop rotation, and then I will probably, or most likely... Actually, I will certainly... Oh wow, we still have crops on those fields. I guess those were kind of left because we hit the storage limit. Which is a smart thing to do. At least for the game. I like that they have this so you don't cram all your capacities with, like, say, food, and you run out of something else. Ooh, I got an award. Stylish. I don't know what that does, but I don't know what it's for, so we'll check that out after this. But we got it. So, hooray. Yay, awards. So, we'll cycle through here. Beans and pumpkins and potatoes and wheat and pepper and cabbage and squash. There we go. So, next time we will finally build a tavern, I think. We still have some potential food to be harvested here. We produced 36 grand food. That's a lot. Like, this is a sizable increasement here. We have a farmer here. We don't need that one. So next time we'll build a tavern and we'll see what else needs to be done. And before I go, I'll actually save the game here. I know, let's look at the achievements quickly. So we don't have those yet. We don't have that yet. In order to do that, you actually have to refuse all nomads. And of course, we have to get to 200 adults. We'll not do this. Oh, okay, we have 200 people with warm coats for 4 years. So that's what the stylish award went to. We have this. We'll probably get those two. Not too keen on that, because I do like to hold onto my steel tools. Yeah, we had farm in the last episodes because we had that. We could get that, but I'm also not too heavily invested in that. We should be able to do that. Actually, yeah, we should have that already. I mean, we've grown and harvested everything. Although no, wait, we still don't have a harvest from the apples and chestnuts. This is going to happen. This probably not too soon. We have that. Actually, 2,000 food each is not too much. Like that was one of the things we probably got very soon. Lumberjack. Possible, but unlikely. I don't know where we are on the in that. We have that. That was actually very easy. Oh wow, this is. We might actually do that. Although I'm not really working on having that many achievements. I'm just building this for the fun of it, and the achievements kind of come on their own. And this have 300 people without actually having food is one of the more stupid achievements that I will not go for. Okay, do I want to... I might actually need to make another woodcutter. We'll dismiss this guy now, even though I would like to buy some stones. I probably shouldn't. Now we're good on stones. Okay, I wanted to do something else here. I need to remove one of those guys. Yeah, I could probably also remove one of the teachers, because let's face it, there's one student. I think if I remove this one, the student will just jump to another school. 8 students here. Wow, they really are distributed. I thought there was one school without, but apparently they all have some students. Anyway, this episode is long enough already, so I'm gonna cut it here, and I'll see you next time. Bye!